Hi, I am super excited to introduce a new series of conversations called Learn with Me with my coach, Dr. Richardson. So, many young leaders like myself, we have big ideas but often feel stuck, alone, and we are unsure of our next step. So, I have decided to share my coach with you all by posting and sharing all the sessions I will be having with Dr. Richardson. And through these coaching sessions, I believe and I hope we will have more insights, lessons, and encouragement that can help us grow our businesses with confidence and purpose. So, my business is at scale stage, and I really want answers on how I can scale my business. So, if you resonate with me, today's session is going to be on scaling. So, how to scale a business effectively, and that's what we are going to dive into with Dr. Richardson. So, if that's your interest, let's do it. We are at the stage of scaling the business, but we find ourselves really challenged to take the next step.
You definitely should learn from your errors, right? And I would say just be a bit, particularly depending on your own personal perspective. Some people are more prone towards safe movements, others are more bold. I think a good company will have some of both. And you say, okay, guys, we obviously failed in the expansion from this market to that market. Let's understand why we failed. What did we do? It could be any number. How many partners do you have?
Yeah, so we have, in terms of strategic partners, we have around five.
What I've experienced and learned over the years is that I may have a very good friend of mine, and maybe we had a great time playing basketball, which does not necessarily translate to him or her being a good business partner.
Yeah.
But because we have a relationship, we lean to people that we already know.
Yeah.
I had a relationship with an individual. It happened to be a female, and a couple other people, and we would have these calls, to talk about what we were doing over the next week, month, whatever it is. And she came to the meeting and she asked the question, does anybody here know how to make money while they're sleeping? I said, I do. And they said, if you build a business and it's successful, the business will run itself. And you can go to sleep and money will be coming in the bank. But that doesn't happen on the first day.
Yeah.
You've got to do the work to put those infrastructures in place. That's what people want to be rich,
Yeah.
but aren't necessarily willing to do the work that it takes to get there.
Okay. Uh, Doctor, when it comes to scale, what are some of the things really we are supposed to focus on as the key measurements to making sure that we achieve that type of scale we are looking for? Yeah.
I think you obviously want infrastructure on where your profit margins are.
Okay.
You've got a product, it costs you this much to make it.
Okay.
What are you selling it for? And is that going to sustain your business? Right? When you get into the individual markets and you're looking at the products that you're selling in any given market, you've got to do one of two things. You've got to find a product, a developed product that people automatically want to use, to consume. Or as we were talking about today, you've got to do the marketing to make them think they need it. Not, and you don't want to necessarily, some of the examples we mentioned today, it's sort of taking advantage of people. You don't want to go that far. But if you can package what you're selling in such a way that people go, I want that, you're golden. Again, that sort of fine line between taking advantage of some people in order to make money and, in quote, helping them live a better life, right? So you're selling a product that would help them be more healthy. You certainly are going to market that product. You're going to have, here's the statement of what we have, and this is what we're going to do for you if you consume this product. That's a good, clean, consumption-oriented, benefiting business, right? And they will come back to you and buy again, be repeat customers, and they will tell their friends and relatives because this is a product. It's a reasonable price, and it does what they say it does, and it helps me with my cold, my health, whatever it is. At that point, you don't have to chase them. They'll come follow you. One of my favorite sayings, and I'll tell my students all this time, and my sons as well, they're both grown now, talk to people.
Yeah.
Okay? Because what we're looking at is you and I meeting in this very interesting venue. It would be silly, and for me, to think, well, I'm going to teach a class, and then I'm going to go home. I'm not going to get to know these people. That doesn't make sense for me. There are others who will do that. They'll come take a class, but they are not resonating with the process that was necessary for you to even be here, which is striking. Right? And so you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, and now you're not talking to a stranger who just is out there for the money. You may find somebody that says, oh, well, I can work with you, and maybe you can help me with this, and I can help. So it becomes a barter thing, which doesn't really cost you anything at all. Right? So for somebody like me, I am very interested in the continent of Africa. I will trade you my marketing expertise for you helping me get to a market of some goods that are in your country. And Ghana is one of the countries that I've been to and are fit into that description. And so it wouldn't cost you anything. It would cost me very little, and that's okay. We both win.
How do you think we can be able to sustain the company in the line of scaling without breaking the norms of sustainability?
A little bit of what we talked about today.
Right?
When you're looking at people say, well, what's of the 4 P's of marketing, which is the most important one, right? And we had different perspectives and different opinions, but for me, and we shared this, if you can provide a message without being basically crooked, right? Because there's some of the examples I mentioned, they weren't exactly crooked, but they weren't necessarily beneficial to the customer. Although the customers would say, the pet rock that I bought, I got a pet rock and I could do the things the man said I could do. I could travel with him, et cetera, et cetera. So $29.99, I'm okay with that. Right? So you want to be in sort of that middle ground where you're providing a goods or service, but you can charge what you need to charge to make a profit. Right? So part of it is this idea of making your message one without it being dishonest. Provides a picture that says this is what this product will do for you, right? And if it's true, it's no question about whether this will help your skin or help your health, whatever it is. It's only a question of how much you're going to pay for it. And at that point, you want to balance gouging people because they want this product and making it a reasonable price that will have them coming back and be very loyal customers because you've helped me solve my back problem, my head, whatever it is. And we like that, and it doesn't cost that much. And so I'm happy, you're happy, and they will not only be your steady customer, they will tell people, who tell people, who tell people. Word gets out, and that doesn't cost you anything.
Plain. So how do we bridge that gap and make businesses out of this with the community? Because they seem not to be interested in the environmental area.
There are instances where this has been solved. Almost everything we talk about so far, somebody has solved this problem. What comes to mind with what you're saying is smoking. There was a time where literally they were promoting smoking cigarettes as something that was beneficial to you. Which is completely opposite to the truth. Right? And they even had doctors recommending this cigarette is good for you.
Right?
In the US? Oh yeah. And I can't speak necessarily internationally, but right here in America, we had we could advertise cigarettes on TV. They would typically be in a commercial for a movie, whatever you were watching, that kind of thing. And when you got a doctor saying this stuff is not bad,
Okay.
oh great, I've never smoked and never had an interest in it, so I don't get it.
Yeah.
But for whatever that is, again, it's sort of a foreign thing to be putting that in the smoke in your body.
Yeah.
But for whatever people do it, some is, I think because it calms them down, whatever it is. So maybe it's a little cold. I think as young people, you might say, I want to smoke a cigarette because I'm a cool guy. These are the marketing levers that you present. In that case, it's a little bit dishonest. Right? You don't want to go down that road. But if you were to do a commercial, and there are some that you can find, probably if you just do it on the internet, do a commercial about what happens when we continue to behave this way in the way that we treat the planet. When you look at least in America, look at Antarctica, where the animals don't have enough ice because it's too warm, where countries are getting flooded because the ice is melting and it's not cold enough. So in some areas it's not cold enough, in some areas it's not warm enough. There's a lot of lessons there. Make sustainability a cool thing. Right? Let's say some such sustainability effort and show somebody that someone will look up to, whether it doesn't have to be somebody that has to pay a lot. Well, if he thinks sustainability, she thinks sustainability is a good thing. I want to be on that bandwagon because people want to be in the group.
Yeah.
We have to make sustainability as popular as not.
Rise up, African child, stand.